Welcome back to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we talk about critical issues in the blindness community. I'm Aaron Richmond. Tonight, like all other episodes, is copywritten by me, Aaron Richmond, and Aaron's Opinion. Thank you. You can watch us right here on YouTube, where so many of you do, along with listening on iTunes or wherever you get a podcast. 1-240-681-9869. Aaron's Opinion 6 at gmail.com. Comment below on YouTube, follow on Facebook and Twitter. Even consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page. Tonight, let's get into it with our next guest here. Mike Sanchez joins me. New Vision 2020. Let's go. Welcome to Aaron's Opinion. I'll tell you guys, a lot of what I heard from Mike Sanchez sounded vaguely familiar to a lot of stuff that I've been telling you guys, my audience. All right, you're on Aaron's Opinion. Go.
This is Mike Sanchez. I'm here tonight just to open some dialogue about some of the critical issues that we face in our community, as well as some of the things that I have been able to do in order to overcome my challenges. My main focus is bringing awareness to some people who have no idea what's possible, and I want to try to help instill confidence to help them get to the next level. And through New Vision 2020, I believe that people work in collaboration like myself, Aaron, and other people in the visually impaired community can come together with one voice and make a bigger impact than we would individually.
Absolutely. So tell me, how did you get into this concept of New Vision 2020?
It's funny because I'm 30 years old now, and I remember I used to actually have clear vision for 17 years of my life. And things changed 13 years ago when I had been diagnosed with LHON, Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy, and my vision went from being clear to very blurry. And as the way I saw things with my vision changed, it brought upon me a new vision, if you would, of how I see myself in the future. And slowly but surely, I'm trotting my way there. But in 2020, I decided to go all in. And as you know, someone having perfect vision is called 2020 vision. So New Vision 2020, here we are.
Cool. Well, actually, I mean, I don't really know about that too much because I was born blind with glaucoma. So I've never had to make this transition to becoming a blind person. So I tell people I cannot imagine how difficult that must be. That must be really, really bizarre being someone who's sighted and then you have to go through losing your vision as an older person. That must be very strange and just truly very, very challenging. But here you are. So now, so exactly how does New Vision 2020 work? You mentioned it before we record, but it's a nonprofit, right?
Yes. My goal and my intentions. First off, I'm a real estate entrepreneur. I've been in real estate for about 6 years now, and my goal has always been to make sure my children, are the first people I help. Children and family. But second, I started thinking that there's more I can do and should do. And realistically, I'm at the point now where I feel obligated that if I have this type of mindset, this type of capability, I need to be giving back. And with my real estate profits, I'm going to be taking 25% of what the company makes for after expenses, more after everything. And I'm going to be donating it to my New Vision 2020 nonprofit. That way we can help other visually impaired people gain technology, gain education, and gain services that maybe there's Commission of the Blinds, but there's too much red tape. Maybe they're in
Right.
an area where in that rural area, there's not someone close enough. We're in 2021. We're a Zoom link away from being connected. And I'm hoping through my endeavors, between me and you working together, between more of us coming together in the community, we can impact those people across the world, not just the city or state, but across the world. And I believe we could do that.
And you're correct. I'm ready to help. I'm pleased to help. And by the way, just to let you know, this podcast is heard all over the world. I have listeners on all the continents. So know that your words are affecting the entire world in a positive way, and that's very inspirational for me and very fascinating, I think, and very, very touching. So you say that with your nonprofit, you want to provide three things that I really like, and then I have some meat and potatoes, some follow-up questions. You say you want to provide technology, education, and training services and things like that to blind people all over the United States or maybe the world who are
World.
not who are not able to get those things. Technology, as you know, you don't need me to tell you. You're the one who's the real estate agent. Things are expensive.
Yeah.
So really, when it all comes down to when the rubber meets the road, how are you going to actually provide technology? What are you going to provide? How is it really going to work? What in the end, what action will be taken? I think that's important.
So my thought process is simple to begin with. Simple things that might help with everyday independent living skills, like braille coded measuring cups, talking food scale, different color coordinated items that help me out in my everyday. People not in the best of positions may not have access to these things. And as I grow my company and my nonprofit, I want to start getting these things myself to start and sending them off to people who are in need of them. And as we grow and as the audience comes on, I want to start, doing things more like getting iPhones, a CCTV, a braille display, maybe a computer for a college student, but there are a lot of items out there that, are expensive as all heck. And I feel like just because you're visually impaired doesn't make you inept at all. And if having that one piece of equipment may bring you to the next level, then why can't you have it? Someone with sight doesn't have to have any assistive tech, and they get to live their life, freely without all the extra, burden of the expenses and whatnot. The same should be had for people who are visually impaired or any other disability. Our lives are made to be equal, and it's time we sit on the same equal playing field.
You're absolutely right. So it's perfect. Now, uh, what educational goals do you
I want to
have?
help. Yeah, I want to help people learn the iPad, how to use it more effectively. How to use the iMac. Whether it's VoiceOver or Zoom. I myself am a very well with Apple products, but
Me
I also
too.
have a friend who's very well with Windows.
Mm.
And a close friend of mine, he's been a close friend for 13 years, actually the first visually impaired person I ever met that showed me it's possible still. And between here and I in our local communities, I'm looking to open up a service center. I guess you would call it something like the X-Men Academy, for mutants, but for visually impaired people, where you can come and embrace your disability, quote unquote, embrace your person. That way you can become more comfortable and confident to go to school, to become a business owner if you want, or even to become a better parent. And in those three aspects, I feel like I have a lot to contribute, being that I have gone to college as a visually impaired person. I am a father while visually impaired, and I do run a business visually impaired as well. So if I can do it, then why the heck can't you?
Perfect. Um, I'm how can I help? Would be what I want to know, and that should be what any listener wants to know because this is appropriate, this is perfect, and this is what society needs. They need other successful visually impaired people like you and I who genuinely care. And what is coming out right now is how much you truly care and how much you're willing to actually do, which is 1,000%. And I really appreciate it. I really do, man.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the problems that I'm seeing a lot of in the community, and you are not in this category clearly, but I'm seeing a lot of talking the talk. And I just want to watch people walking the walk. And that's the impression that I'm getting with your company and your organization, that you truly want to walk the walk and you truly know that talk is cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
me
yeah.
personally, like I said, once you get to a point in your life where you become comfortable and confident in yourself, your life is no longer your own. You are at that point obligated to take up the responsibility to bring others with you. A
Hmm.
few days ago, I truly felt the impact of what I'm accomplishing. And mind you, it's only been maybe 2.5 weeks. I had a woman from Pakistan message me and tell me that she herself is visually impaired with a 6-year-old completely blind daughter. Now that touched base for me for two reasons. I myself am visually impaired, and second, I have children. And I'm eager to get on a Zoom with her and discuss, how I may be able to help, with her collaboration, of course, and others like yourself, get this person to a point where she's feeling independent. Another gentleman from England had messaged me, and we're just talking technology. I put him onto the magnifier function on the iPad, and his biggest, problems were he has a CCTV at work, but it's a work-related equipment. How does he transfer from magnifying at work to magnifying at home? And we switched on the magnifier, and there you go. Another person, from Africa he's a business owner. I'm actually going to be having him on my show soon, but he's a business owner from Africa, and he himself is visually impaired. And what I learned is that everybody, whether you have Leber's, glaucoma, diabetes, retinopathy, whatever the situation is, we all have a story. And Aaron, your story, my story, everybody's story should be heard, so that way somebody else, whether it's Pakistan, England, or wherever, can finally feel confident that, yes, there's someone out there like me, someone who speaks the words I speak, and someone who hears the words I have to say. And that can hopefully imbue upon them the motivation that you and I both have now.
Yeah, yeah. This is all sounding vaguely familiar to me, and this is exactly why I started this show a couple years ago, because I wanted to do that. I wanted to give blind people, and really anyone all over the world, the chance to come and tell their story. And you know what? I have found that the stories in the blindness community are becoming more and more similar as we go through time. I'm noticing a lot of similarities from country to country. I've had a lot of people on this podcast from all the continents, even the continent of Africa. Well, I'm just curious, what country in Africa is he from?
I didn't get into too many details. We're obviously totally different time zones, so right now we're briefly just each other, But
no, you can't just blame it on the time zone. You can still ask him what country he's from.
well, I hadn't gotten that much details from him just yet, But I'm hoping when he does come on the show, we can dive deeper and see, the comparison to the United States, what we have to offer here, and what's going on over there, and how he was still able to flourish not being in the U.S.
Yeah, it's very interesting to have those conversations. You see very quickly that the services overseas are, even in relatively well developed parts of the world, such as England, Canada, France, the services are noticeably less. And I notice it. I mean, I'm a French speaker. I've been to France several times with my parents, and I notice when we go, that the services for blind people there are significantly less. Yes. The expectations are significantly less. I mean, I some of the blind people in France have the opportunity to work a little bit, but not nearly as easily as we can here in the States. Exactly. So, and from, I've had several Canadians on this show, actually. There's a lot of complaints about "Oh Canada." You might think it's just some nice, nice place up there, happiness and all that stuff. There's a lot of unhappy people in that country, let me tell you.
Well, there's unhappy people everywhere, though,
There are, but there are, and I mean, I've heard a lot of complaints about the services in Canada. From province to province, the services vary. So, which is why the work that we're doing here in your nonprofit or my YouTube channel, this is why it's so important, because we have to get this message globalized so that the entire world starts to figure out what's going on. And I think that's been one of the problems up until now, is that there's not been enough strong content creation where we say, we know what's going on in your country, and here's why, and here's an episode with this particular guest that proves it, So we really got to nail this down. Yeah.
And my thought process is,
sure.
As we're working with cryptocurrency to decentralize the economy, we should also work to get everybody in a global connection to decentralize services. People in the United States shouldn't get more services than people in Pakistan, because they're visually impaired. And that's another one of the biggest qualms I have with Commissions of the Blinds and ACBs, all the other services that are directed to help people but are government funded. The problem with those things is sometimes you have to fill out forms and get on a waiting list and wait 2, 3, 6 months. But what happens tomorrow morning when you wake up still blind? How are you supposed to overcome that if you're on a waiting list?
Exactly. So it makes it very, very difficult.
It makes it difficult, and it makes it more passion driven for me, because I know
Hmm.
people out there who don't even have access to a waiting list because their country doesn't offer that service. And like I say, and I'll say it time and time again, it's obligatory for people like you and I who have a voice and who have confidence with our visual impairment to take our community member and bring them up with us. If it's something as simple as a quick Zoom conversation about how to cook, how
Yeah.
to use a keyboard, how to function normally in an abnormal society, we all have that responsibility.
I completely agree with you, and I just love your attitude about it. Your willingness, your your willingness, your personality. I really like the way you approach this topic. I mean, I've been kind of thinking about all of these things, but the way you say it, it's so simple and so direct, and you're correct. Like you understand this.
I live it.
Um, well, but here's the thing. I've never thought of it the same way you think of it, right, Mike? Because I was born blind. So
Mm.
until you mentioned about the decentralization of global services for blind people, I, that's never occurred to me. But that's right. That's the right thing to do. Of course I want to do that. But because there is a difference between people like me and you in regards to how we grew up. If you grow up blind like me, we don't think about these types of things. I mean I have some usable vision, but I can't comprehend what it must be like to be sighted just as easily as I cannot comprehend what it must be like to lose vision.
Yes.
So I think that's a tremendous asset that you have, is that you understand the world from a sighted perspective as well as a blindness perspective. I only understand it from my perspective of what I know. Not that that's bad or good, but that's just that is a factor of how I understand and relate to this whole notion of services.
What I would say is it
Hmm.
makes me more empathetic towards different scenarios, because I did grow up with vision for 17 years of my life. And as my friends started learning to drive and go to, school for XYZ things, I started going to school to learn to read Braille. And at a critical age, when, I mean, 17 years old, I want my fast car. I want to go hang out with the buddies and all that good stuff. But when my life changed, I can't say it changed for the worse, because it's allowed me to have a platform like this to give, hopefully, advice to other people. But it definitely changed my life in a way I wasn't expecting. And to be born with vision and to live my later years with someone who's visually impaired, it isn't easy. It sounds simple, but it sure as hell wasn't easy.
No.
And again, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's simple because I make it understandably so, but I wake up and I still have to remember, okay, I have to do it this way. I have to do it that way. I have to do it XYZ because I'm quote unquote different.
Yeah. 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 No, you're right. You're right. No, I understand. I understand why you're saying that. See, for me, I've never had to adapt.
Mm.
So that's the difference. But you're absolutely right, and it's very interesting. Yeah. When I was a teenager, I grew up in a very, very small community, to which on this podcast is undisclosed for a lot of different. It's that's a bit of a story all in itself,
Yeah.
but um, I never had the desire to drive a car because I knew that I would never do that at 16. I never went through that. Um, so it's very interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I still go kart. Me and my kid's mother, we actually took our children go karting. Me and I,
Mm-hmm.
we beat them. You ever lost to a blind guy? Well, people could say they have. I've been bowling. I play pool. I keep up with the best of them. And again, I may have to have my own adaptive ways of doing it, but I live by a simple motto every single day. Don't let your XYZs become your excuses. That's it.
Oh yeah.
That's it, man. You know what I mean? Don't let your XYZs become your excuses. Everybody has a reason why they can't. Whether you're blind, you're deaf,
Mm-hmm.
wheelchair, whatever your situation might be, you can overcome it.
Right.
It's possible. It takes a strong, independent person to overcome the challenges be set before them. And my mindset shows me that a person with a disability it should be a symbol of strength because we're overcoming abnormal challenges in a normal world. So instead of us being looked at as weak or victims, we should be looked at as strong people. The ones who have accepted, the ones who have been able to break free of their mindset of entrapment and victimness and whatnot. Those people who are able to get out of that mindset, we're the true symbols of strength. And I wholeheartedly believe that.
You're absolutely right. I could not agree with you more. Yeah. And you know, in a lot of these groups on around Facebook, I do see a lot of that the whole victimhood thing. That's very, very common.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. And the thing is, everybody can fall victim. You know what I mean? I got to a car accident, my back hurts. You know, something happened to me when I was a child. Something happened to me when I was an adult. Something happened to me, X, Y, Z. Okay, it happened. How are we gonna move on tomorrow? I know how yesterday was. I know what you're saying today, but what's tomorrow gonna be like? Is it gonna be the same, or is it gonna be different for you because you chose to make a difference? And again, it's all on the person, the subject, the person himself.
Definitely. 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 So, are you, in addition to everything else you're doing, do you podcast? Do you have a YouTube channel like this? What do you do for that?
Yeah, so I actually just put up my Facebook page, New Vision 2022, and a half weeks ago. I'm in the process of uploading a bit more content, and I'm assuming by Monday I'll have my YouTube channel up. And my channel, it'll be me doing things. I mean, even on my page right now, you know, I do things, cook steak, make spaghetti. I father my children. We went sledding yesterday too. You know, all that is going to be up there. But I'll also show the technology I use, how I work my business, the fact that I have 3 employees, how I communicate with them. It's all included in there. It's the life of a visually impaired person through the eyes of a visually impaired person.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
I want you, not you specifically, Aaron, because you're doing it, but I want you to understand that you can still cook, you can still teach your children, you can still live an independent life. You can go bowling, just have them put up the blockers. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all
Right.
possible.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely is. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Well, that is extremely good. And then what about like a podcast? Are you gonna upload the audio to iTunes?
I aim to. I definitely do aim to. I'm gonna be mainly doing like these interview style podcasts, just the audio on that. And if people want to see more content, like the cooking, the learning, the all the other good stuff, come to the page. Come to the page. Come to the page. That way, I can build. I feel like I'll have more of an interactive audience on Facebook. That way, you know, you can comment in real time. You can leave, you know, questions, you know, things like that. The audio will be on podcast. The all the videos, content I create or not, will be on YouTube. And get at me on Facebook. I'm there all day, every day. You know, with the assistive technology I use every single day, I'm easy to get a hold of.
Hmm. Good.
I'm looking to make myself accessible, not to the errands of the world, but to those less able to accept. Because between you and I, we can make a big impact. You know, even if say today, after tonight, you help 2 people with this video, and I help 2 people with this video. Guess what?
Right.
We just helped 4 people together.
Exactly.
That's all I'm looking for. It's simple, right?
So
More people
right.
do this.
You're trying to do exactly the same thing I'm trying to do. Help as many.
And we got this, man. We got this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, speaking of business, so I've never talked about real estate from a blindness perspective or any. So what can you tell us about the real estate business? Let's go.
Yeah, so I'm not a real estate agent. I'm actually a real estate investor. What I do is I find distressed properties, whether tenant situations or dilapidated homes. But obviously, with my eyesight, I can't exactly go up there and look at the falling gutters or the water splotches on the roofs and whatnot. So it helps. It forces me to hire more people to be my eyes and ears, to be my inspector, to be my boots on the ground, if you would, that would you know, have a better eye than me and locate these issues and help me along the way. And you know, if you're able to use a computer, you can do it. People in my business don't know I'm visually impaired. My 3 employees do not know I'm visually impaired. When I go to the closing table, to close the sale or purchase of a property, guess what? They don't know I'm visually impaired until I ask them, show me what to sign. And then they got the same question. Oh, wait, you can't see? A friend of mine I was talking to a couple of days ago who was in the lending industry for real estate. I've known for 2 years. He had no idea about my vision disability. We've never met in person, mind you, but he never knew. And you would approach it the same exact way as someone with vision, just do it in an adaptive way. We're able to use technology to our fullest advantage here in 2021. I sit behind my 27-inch iMac every single day and I build businesses, whether it's the real estate one, whether it's this nonprofit, whether it's whatever else I want to accomplish in my life. Nobody has to look at me as someone with a disability because they don't know. Not that I'm trying to hide it, but because if I don't need to disclose it, I don't have to.
Right, right. And I again I completely agree. That is also, by the way, a critical topic of debate in the disability community, how to disclose disability, when to disclose. I've heard every story from
I feel
people.
like if I have to tell them that I can't see, then shouldn't I also tell them that I can function better than you on a computer? Or should I also tell them that I function better than them on the phone? If I have to tell them that I can't visually see, then I should also be obligated to tell them that I'm better than them at certain aspects as well.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? It's a double standard here. I have to tell you my disability, but then I should also have to tell you how I'm better than you.
I guess I don't know. Companies cannot ask those questions, regardless. But I
Hmm.
don't know. I kind of have a controversial opinion about it. I think that, and it is a controversial opinion. I accept that, but I think that when companies hire people, they should change the law where the company is required to ask, do you have, what is, do you have a disability? Then the applicant is then required to explain the full situation,
Hmm.
and then by doing that they would solve the problem a lot more quickly. And I think that the companies like yours and mine who are willing to hire anyone, with or without a disability will, and because the companies who are hesitant to hire people with disabilities are always going to be hesitant, whether
Uh,
you tell them on March 1st or March 20th. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
is
absolutely.
so I don't know. But you know what? That's a huge controversy, and I am not an expert about it. So that is, by the way, that's not a fact. That's just my opinion.
Exactly.
I think that's just what I think about it. But you're also right. There it is. It's good. It's a blessing in disguise. There is a double standard. It's a double-edged sword. It. You brought it up in a really interesting way. If you say one thing, you are kind of obligating and kind of roping yourself into saying something else.
Absolutely.
Or or as I tell myself, I'm a very antisocial person when I'm not on YouTube. So you know, so like when I meet people in public, I'm like, really, obviously like a really unfriendly person, because that's just how I am. I'm kind of a grouchy guy. But you know what? I think to myself, well, since I don't want to talk about sensitive stuff, I know that it's easier for me not to talk about it than it is for me to stop talking about it. So I'm
Hmm.
not going to talk about it.
See, I'm on the flip side. I'm willing to push the buttons. I'm willing to push the limit,
Mm,
and that's
mm-hmm,
me.
mm-hmm.
That's who I've been even when I had vision,
Right,
because I'm the type of person to ask, well, why not? How come? How can we
right.
change this? And if you don't have a solution to my question, then guess what? I'm gonna find a solution,
That's good. That's
and
good.
people will be happy when Mike Sanchez finds a solution because it's gonna be an out of the box, creative way of getting it done. And
Right.
that's how I've lived my whole life. That's how I'll continue to live my life. And any aspect of my business will be creative and out of the box.
Creative and out of the box. Well, okay. Yeah, and I think a lot of it, part of it too is the different parts of the country we grew up in. I grew up uh, with my parents and brother in a rural community, and I can tell by your beautiful voice, the way you talk, you grew up in New York, probably up in the
Brooklyn.
Northeast.
Yep, I was
Ador,
born and raised.
ador, adorable accent for you. I love that accent. It's an adorable accent for YouTube. I love the
Yeah,
way you talk.
New
I love.
Yorker.
Oh yeah, no, I could tell the whole time. So, but look, I think there is something to be said for the fact that a New Yorker, okay, is willing to ask more questions, perhaps, than someone like me who grew up in kind of an agricultural community. Well, quite frankly, I didn't meet many people growing up. I was just around less people. So I think it's interesting to study that I think the chances that I've had in life to ask those critical questions at a younger age were never presented to me. I
Mm.
think it's really cool to think about that. The ways that we grow up and the parts of the country we're from do dictate to some degree, not all the way, but to some degree, our perception of the way that we're going to go about life and the types of things that we say to people. So it's really cool to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I'm one of 7 kids, so interacting was always something you had to do. Whether you were fighting with your brother or sister or not, they're still there, you know. And sometimes, even when they upset you, you still gotta talk to them. And it
Right.
got me to my point in my life where even if something makes me uncomfortable or somebody says something to me that I don't agree with, if we have to collaborate and we have to work together, well, it's just like another brother or sister to me. We gotta keep it moving, you know. We gotta keep it moving. This train doesn't stop for nobody, right?
Well, okay, but see, where I'm from, we don't have trains to stop for nobody.
Yeah.
See, so a lot of it, I no, I understand what you're saying, man, but a lot of it has to do with the way that people grow up, and it's kind of a stereotype. It's to say, well, you're a product, well, we're a product of our environment. Well, it's partial. I'm not saying it's true 100%, but to some degree, to a lot of degree, it's true a little bit. We are products of our environment.
Mm.
Someone who grows up in the countryside, like me, I have a different perception of the questions and the interactions that I would be willing to do as opposed to you. And I've consistently noticed New Yorkers have great social skills
Yeah,
because you have to. I've noticed it.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
with all the people packed into that little island, you know, called, well, I'm from Coney Island. I don't know if you know Coney Island, where there's Nathan's Hot Dogs and
yeah, 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 yeah.
Astro Park in it. Yeah, you know, you got all the people congested on that one, you know, trash-filled, garbage, cluttered, island and whatnot.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
but
since
I've
by
been
the
to
way,
the,
since you just complained, I have a job for you. You should go clean up the trash because you're complaining
yeah,
about trash. Get your
yeah.
nonprofit out there to go clean up the trash so you
I
can clean
currently
it.
live in Massachusetts, and there's no trains going there today just yet, you know. So
No, but there's no, but you know what? Massachusetts, there's probably trash in Massachusetts. You should go clean up the trash in that state.
yeah, right, something, right? Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never been up. I don't think I've been to Massachusetts. I mean, I've been to New York.
So can I be
Yeah,
honest? Massachusetts honestly is well equipped to handle people
good.
visually impaired. It really is, and I've been to California, Oregon,
Mm.
I've been to Ohio, Texas, Florida,
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii. You know, I've been a lot of places, and none have I found. And mind you, I've done it all independently as well. You know, sometimes with friends, but majority of the time I have traveled myself. You know, so you can do it too if I can. You know, hop on a plane, go somewhere. But the
Right.
fact is, Massachusetts, you know what our services, I mean, they even have tactile roads where it tells you where the sidewalk ends and the street begins.
Mm-hmm.
Not a
Mm-hmm.
lot of places and locations have small gestures like that to make us more included. You know, and I mean, Massachusetts is what it is, you know, but it's been very helpful establishing my confidence in my inabilities as a visually impaired person. And 100% hats off to Massachusetts.
I agree. Well, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I think this is a problem, everywhere of not things being inaccessible or streets being difficult. You know, I mean, I agree with you. I think that's great that it's so built up there. But what you will find consistently is a lot of blind people are living everywhere in the world with very little, not a lot of industry, not a lot of services, not a, things are not always so built up as you're used to. So
Mm.
that's a consistent problem. And of course, I think that blind people need to be able to live everywhere, in the country, in the city, anywhere really. But it is a significant factor that does affect, even as I said, even a blind person's willingness to ask for help
Mm.
can be tremendously depend. So I think if your nonprofit can get onto some of these projects and get, as you said, tactile streets, making things more accessible in more places.
Hmm.
If you get a team of people around the country, like me, for instance, and so hopefully many others around the world who are willing to help, I think you got a great thing going. I really
Well, I believe with my passion, with your connections, with our ability to see more than people with vision, I believe that we can do it. You know, so long as people like you and I stay connected, You know, I 100% believe we can accomplish anything. You know, and not just here in Massachusetts or New York or US, but in Canada, Africa, the world. Like I said, we need to decentralize services and we need to be more inclusive. If we can decentralize money, if we can decentralize the internet, then damn sure we need to decentralize services like this for people who need it.
Excellent. Cool. So if someone's listening and I'm sure they want to help New Vision 2020, how do they do it?
If you want, just show support to the page. If you have any knowledge of investing, reach out to me so we can take on some projects and build New Vision 2020 with the funding from that real estate company. If you wanted to share your story, you know, come to my page and drop a comment or like, or tell me how, you know, your life has been affected, you know, connect with Aaron and I both, as I'm looking to collaborate with him more about what you need, about what services you're lacking, about what skills you may be inept at. And hopefully, you know,
Yeah,
more voices share the same story
they
can
do.
bring upon a louder sound. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the attention. It's time for us to get loud. It's time for us to tell them what we as human beings deserve instead of someone telling us, here's what you get. I don't get, I take. And I'm taking what I need and I take what I want. And I take it to build it for a better future for people like us.
Amen. There you go. But no, I mean, I meant, that question, I kind of meant like if someone wants to like donate to your nonprofit, you know, like what's the website? How would they find out more? Just about the nonprofit
My
side.
website's coming up next week. It'll be nv2020.com. Right now, we're not taking donations. Reason being is I'm trying to self-fund it for now
Okay.
to show what we're doing and open up maybe in a year or so. You know, I want
Excellent.
this to be self-funded in the beginning. That way I can
Mm-hmm.
show a track record and say, hey, look, this is what we did ourselves. How do you
Mm.
want to help? How do you want to be included?
Right. Right. That's really good. That's
Yeah.
really excellent.
No
Yeah.
one can trust me with a dollar to see what I ddid. You know what I mean? If you don't know and have faith where your dollar's going, how would you want to donate 10 more, 50 more, 100 more? It's time for me to build this up to where I believe it's going to be. And then in about a year or so, open the channel up for donations.
So good. So good. Excellent, excellent. Well, we can talk about it off the air, but I'll give you a link that you can click on in the description of the video to go to his channel, to go to his page, something. Yeah, I would definitely say have a good, strong website.
Yeah. Yep.
One of my buddies, well, you'll get to meet them actually in our community. He built a website and he's had some technical problems. So yeah, websites do go up and down. It can be very frustrating. So you got to get that just right, you know. But
And it has to be ADA compliant to make sure it's accessible for people who use voiceover and other screen readers too.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes the information gets all jumbled up and you know it may dissuade people from going on that site again, you know. So long as it's compliant and accessible, then you know we'll be good to go, you know.
Yeah, definitely. In all of the great things that you do, how are you spending your time in your free time when you are not doing all this great work?
My free time is mostly spent with my kids, man. Honestly, like I said, you know, I take them
So
to the
good.
beach. I take them, you know, we went sledding yesterday, you know, their first time ever sledding. You know, we had an amazing time. You know, any free moment that I have where I'm not in front of a computer or working on houses or anything like that, I, I love to be with my children. You know, whether
Mm,
playing video games or having a movie night or baking cookies or even just cuddling. When they were daddy, they know we can do anything. And to me,
yeah,
that's the best. That's how I love to spend my time, anyways.
so good.
My boys are my number one, man.
I agree. That's so good for that's perfect. Yeah, I'm not there at that moment in my life yet, but I completely support that. I support that concept. That's the right. That's Thank you for doing the right thing. So
I like
God 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 bless you
they
for
didn't
that.
won't let me. They love me too much. I'm like, nah, you know, man. Everything for me, it falls into place when my left hand and my right hand are being held by Isaac and Jaden. You know, I can walk through life,
Yeah.
you know, proud. You know, I can walk through life knowing that the legacy I leave behind for my children is going to be one of, you know, generosity and graciousness and understanding. Say no one takes anything from anything I ever say on any channel or podcast. The two people who will most be affected by me more than anybody is Isaac and Jaden, and for them, I'm grateful beyond belief. For them, I'll do anything and everything.
I believe you. I thank you. God bless you, man. God bless you for that. So good. Well, um, if you could only ask me one question to see if I'm worth my salt, to really make me sweat. I mean, really try. Really ask a great question. I've had some great questions, some great final question segments here.
Last final question for my man Aaron. If you could have your sight, how do you think it would change the way you lived your life from the way you was born to now and getting your sight now moving forward?
It wouldn't, because I would never get my sight back, even if given the chance.
Really?
As Samuel Clemens tells us, there's only 2 days in our lives that are important: the day we're born and the day we know why. I'm not getting my sight back. I accept it. I accept who I am.
Oh, I like that.
See,
So
it's another huge controversy in the blindness community. If they invent some sort of a thing that you can get a surgery for, no, I'm not doing some surgery for. No, I'm going to take care of my eyes and just go about my business. But there's a lot of people that would get their sight back. Again, since I was born blind, I can't relate to being sighted, so I don't have that desire. So I can't relate to that. I understood the question, but it doesn't.
It doesn't impact your life.
No, it does. How do I even express it? It's a very hard thing to express. It's like it doesn't hold the same currency value to me as other things would. It's just not. It's a meaningful question. It's a brilliant question. I love that question. But I'm just saying the concept of getting my vision back just kind of bores. It's like I don't know. It's not who I am really. So I can't really. It's not tangible, I guess.
Yeah.
But you should talk to people about that, because there's a lot who would, especially if they lost their vision later on, they would gladly get it back, provided that their eyes were, in that position where that type of thing was possible. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I would get my vision back.
right, because for the reason that you remember what it was like to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and plus on top of that, to play catch with my sons, to read them a book a night. Not saying that these are things I can't do, but to just be, me and my kids in the car driving to the beach, just the three of us. Me being able to read the subtitles to them on a movie, or when Isaac asked me, "What's that, Daddy? Can you read it to me?" And being someone who had vision and being able to do all that good stuff before, I'm not missing out. I don't want to say that, but I feel like I'd be able to do a lot more with my kids, if that makes sense.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for me, anyways, like
right. Sure.
Good stuff, though. Honestly, I don't mind it, because I've learned to accept it and adapt with it. So it's part of who Mike Sanchez is now. That's why I continue saying, don't let your XYZs become your excuses. Simple enough.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. So again, if someone, because we've kind of gone over, well, like any great episode, we've gone through a lot of material. So if someone wants to contact you directly, would it just be best for them to just send your page a message on Facebook, the New Vision 2020 page? Okay.
Yeah, for now, and then as I continue building my brand and my nonprofit, other ways of contacting me, email, website, things like that.
Yeah.
But for now, just hit me up on Facebook. I'm here.
Okay, so I'll put that link in the description for the New Vision 2020 page on Facebook. You can send them a message, and Mike Sanchez will get right back to you with that type of thing. Yeah. Well, as I said, tremendously enjoyed talking to you, as I do every guest. Not to worry. You have not gotten rid of me so easily. You'll be added to my private WhatsApp group that I know you'll join and send a voice message. Introduce yourself over there. Tell everybody what you're doing. Anyway, you are a forever member of Aaron's Opinion. It's global community that I'm building on the podcast community all over the world, man. Really, really, really appreciate it. We have a very special way. We have a very special way to end every episode of Aaron's opinion. But first, I just have to say that I love that expression. Can you say that XYZ thing again? Because
Yeah.
I just,
Don't let your XYZs become your excuses.
all right, I agree with that. And something else that we can agree with, apart from not making excuses, is always remember, I wish you the very best of health. I wish your children and family the best of health. Everybody, stay healthy, stay safe, stay positive. And as
Always.
we say, apart from not making excuses, always try to help one person today and then help 1 million people tomorrow.